Hey there, welcome to this tutorial demonstrating how to set up a HoloSuite player and retargeting in Unreal Engine 5. This tutorial requires Unreal Engine 5.03, and we're going to assume that you have some basic understanding of Unreal Engine and HoloSuite players. We're going to start with some already prepared OMS data with the skeleton and skin weights added in HoloEdit. We'll walk through installing the plugin, playback, and retargeting. Let's dive in. First, we'll prepare the HoloSuite player plugin. This can play any OMS and MP4 export from HoloEdit with the encode frame numbers export setting enabled. To install the HoloSuite player, we'll start by unzipping and copying the HoloSuite player plugin from the HoloSuite Packages Plugins folder and copy it into the Unreal Engine Plugins Marketplace folder. This can typically be found under Program Files, Epic Games, UE5, Engine, Plugins, and finally, Marketplace. If the Marketplace subfolder does not already exist, you can create the folder yourself. Once the plugin has been copied into the Marketplace folder, open up UE5 and create a new project. Click on the Edit drop-down menu and select Plugins. In the plugin editor, search for HoloSuite and look for a HoloSuite player item and check Enabled. For Unreal Engine 5.0, you'll also need to search for and enable the Electra Video plugin. Once these plugins are enabled, click the Restart Now button in the bottom of the right-hand window. When Unreal opens again, we'll be ready to start configuring the HoloSuite player. If you experience any issues, see the plugins page on the Unreal Engine documentation for more information on installing plugins in Unreal. Let's create a Movies subfolder and drag our MP4 file into it. Now, let's create another new folder and label it as you like. In this example, I'm going to call it OMS, then drag and drop your OMS file into it. The HoloSuite player requires an OMS file, a texture source, which is the MP4 file, and a material for rendering OMS clips. For this example, we'll use an unlit material. To generate this, right-click on the OMS file and select Create Unlit Material. Finally, we'll configure a HoloSuite player. In the Place Actor search bar, type OMS Mesh Actor. Drag it into the scene and look for the Source drop-down menu in the Details tab. Here, you'll see three fields where you can place the OMS, texture, and mesh material. Let's drag the OMS into the OMS field, the mesh material into the mesh material field, and your MP4 into the texture field. We can now see our capture is visible in the viewer. Before we hit play, it's important to note that the default anti-aliasing settings can cause smudging of the mesh results during playback. To improve the playback quality, go to your project settings, search for anti-aliasing, and change the default to temporal anti-aliasing, or TAA. Then head over to your HoloSuite player and in the experimental settings, enable responsive AA. If we press play, we can see our performance in action. Next, let's set up retargeting. Applying retargeting with the HoloSuite player requires a skin mesh and skeleton data to control your actor's motions. This can be generated from an OMS file containing embedded skeleton and skin weight data. To generate a new skeletal mesh, right-click on your OMS file and select Create Retarget Skeletal Mesh. Next, right-click on the newly created skeletal mesh and under Skeleton, click Create Skeleton. You should rename these appropriately as both the mesh and skeleton assets require specific configurations. Adding an animation blueprint is what enables head retargeting to lock onto an object and control your actor's head motions during playback. Let's make one of those by right-clicking in our OMS folder, going to Animation, and selecting Animation Blueprint. The animation blueprint must be provided with the target skeleton. Select the skeleton you generated in the previous steps and press Create. Now let's open your animation blueprint to expose the anim graph window. In the anim graph, you'll see an empty output pose node. First, create a lookat node and connect its output to the results of the output pose. With the lookat node selected, change its bone to modify option to head. Next, compile and save the animation blueprint. Once compiled, drag it into the viewport. We want to make sure our retarget actor is in the exact same world space as our OMS actor. If you've transformed your player actor in any way, ensure that your animation blueprint actor has the exact same rotation, scale, and position as your OMS player actor. Next, head over to the details of the OMS Mesh actor, find the retargeting menu, and ensure that retargeting is enabled in your OMS Mesh actor's details panel. Click on the drop-down menu just below it, and in the window that pops up, select the skeletal blueprint. Now we'll make an object for our actor to look at. Place a new object in the scene. In this case, we'll use a sphere. In the animation blueprint, select the lookat node and in its details panel, open up the target menu and in the drop-down menu next to the lookat location, select Expose as Pin. Looking back to our lookat node, we now have the look at location exposed. Let's create a new variable, rename it to look at target, and change its variable type to vector. Drag this variable into the graph as get and hook it up to the look at location input. Next, click over to the event graph and create a get all actors with tag node. In the tag field, write look at target. Then, from out actors, create a get node, and attached to that, create a get actor location node. Now we'll drag out our look at location variable to the end of the graph, select set, and attach our get actor location node to it. Connect the get all actors with tag node to the look at target set node. Finally, we'll connect the event blueprint update node to the get all actors with tag node. Now compile and save the blueprint and return to the main screen. Select our sphere target, and in the Details panel, navigate down to the Actor tab, and at the bottom under the Advanced tab, add a new tag. In the new field that is created below, add the Look at Target tag that we entered in the Get All Actors with Tag node. This will now connect the actor's head to our sphere target. Now that retargeting is ready to rock, let's get set up for final playback. To hide our animation blueprint, let's create a new material. We'll set the material's blend mode to be translucent and create a constant node. Leave it at the default 0 setting and connect it to the opacity input. Then, assign this material to the retarget skeletal mesh. Finally, under the sphere's transformation information, change the mobility setting from static to movable. You can now enter play mode, and by hitting eject, you can control the sphere and see our retargeted actor following the sphere in real time. Alright, that covers it for creating a HoloSuite player and retargeting setup in Unreal Engine 5. For more information, please refer to our documentation linked in the description below. Thanks for watching.